They called it democracy, but it felt like something else entirely. The tension was everywhere. You could feel it in the markets, where traders whispered of soldiers watching the government's every move. You could hear it in the streets, where people muttered, "Even the worst military rule is better than this." But the worst part? Knowing that it wasn't just paranoia. The military was watching, and we were all just waiting for the inevitable. By 1983, the dream of democracy had become a waking nightmare. I remember the day the coup was announced. I wasn't shocked, I had seen it coming for years. Everyone had. Between 1979 and 1983, the military never really let go. They had stepped back, sure, but not away. It was like they were standing in the wings, waiting for the right moment to push democracy off the stage. The day the general refused. One memory haunts me more than the others. It was 1983, and Major General Muhammadu Buhari had been sent to our northeastern border to drive out Chadian rebels. He was a man with a reputation, stubborn, disciplined, and fiercely loyal to his troops. When his men pushed the rebels back into Chad, they wanted to stop. But Buhari, he didn't stop. He advanced deeper into Chad, defying orders from the government to withdraw. That defiance sent shockwaves through the corridors of power. You see, Buhari wasn't just ignoring orders, he was exposing something bigger. The government, our civilian government, had no real control over the military. And everyone knew it. It took 2 senior officers to pull him back, but the damage was done. Buhari left their mission a man disillusioned, and the government left it shaken. They started watching him, even placing him under surveillance. To us, it was clear, there were cracks in the foundation of this fragile democracy. Coup whispers in the dark. Then came the whispers. They started like rumors, the soldiers are planning something. They are not happy with the government. But they weren't just rumors. Coup plots were everywhere. Some were absurd, like the one involving Alhaji Buka Mandar, a disgruntled businessman angry over losing a government contract. He tried to recruit soldiers to overthrow the government. It almost sounded comical, but it wasn't. The government arrested Mandara, but they couldn't arrest the fear that followed. Even with him behind bars, we all knew the real danger didn't come from men like him. It came from the military officers who didn't need an excuse, they just needed the right moment. The waiting game. And they waited. Oh, how they waited. Babangida himself later admitted it, we could have toppled the government in 1982, but the people weren't ready. By 1983, the frustration was everywhere. The frustration was palpable. Teachers weren't being paid. Oil wealth was vanishing into the pockets of the corrupt. The election that year was a disaster, rigged, chaotic, and deeply unfair. I remember seeing people in the streets shaking their heads, muttering, "What's the point? The military will fix this." When the coup finally came in December, it didn't feel like an invasion. It felt like an inevitability. People cheered as the soldiers rode into power. Cheered. As if we had been rescued. I couldn't believe it. Were we so broken that we would rather be ruled by guns than by votes? The pain of watching a dream die. But the hardest part wasn't the coup itself. It was watching democracy crumble under its own weight. The Shagari government wasn't perfect, it was corrupt, incompetent, and blind to the struggles of the people. But it was ours. For the first time in years, we had the chance to shape our future. And we threw it away. I can still hear the words of my neighbor the night the coup was announced. He said, "At least now things will change." I wonder if he ever regretted those words, as one military regime gave way to another, each one promising salvation and delivering something far worse. A nation stuck in a cycle. Looking back, I wonder, did we ever really have a chance? The military was never going to let democracy thrive. They were too involved, too entrenched. They saw themselves as the rightful rulers, not the protectors. And the people? We were too tired, too angry, too desperate to hold on to something imperfect. I wish I could say we've learned, that we've grown. But the truth? The scars of those years still linger. Every time I see a soldier in uniform, I wonder, is he standing guard for us, or over us? So, tell me, if you were there, living through it all, what would you have done? Would you have fought for a flawed democracy, or welcomed the military with open arms, hoping for stability? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that dig deep into the heart of history.